Hey everyone, it's Denise Donahue, your mortgage nerd, bringing you our Q2 market update about what's going on in this crazy real estate market. Thank you for tuning in. I am going to hop on. The biggest questions clients is asking us is market going to stay forever? Should we continue to look? Should we wind? And so I wanted to share with you some tangible numbers, research data that is formulating my opinion. Of course, nobody has a crystal ball, but what I'm going to share with you will make a lot of sense, I feel. The first thing is the number one reason why we're in this market. Well, there's really two main reasons. Supply and demand, which we've all kind of heard. There are a lot more buyers in the marketplace than a seller. And so when there's not as much available based on simple supply and demand, it's going to drive the price up. It'd be the same thing if, everybody was on the hunt for apples and there were only 5 apples available. Well, if you're a seller, you could overcharge for that apple because it's in hot demand. It's the same thing that's going on with the real estate market. A lot of people are saying it's kind of like toilet paper at the start of COVID. You couldn't find any. If anybody had a roll, you could way overcharge and anyone would be willing to pay it because they needed that toilet paper roll. Same concept. So that's one, is supply and demand. The other part is that people are bored of their home or their apartment. In 2020, we were confined into our own areas, and it showed that we need that extra space for maybe that home office or for our dog to have a yard. And so that is also playing to part of it. What I want to share with you is where I think the market's headed. So it's important to distinguish the difference between the types of markets within real estate. What I mean by that is there's that first-time homebuyer market. There's the market that we call the move-up buyer, where you're buying your second or third home. And then you've got the affluent market, which is kind of over that $700,000, $800,000 point. And so do I think that it's going to get less bananas for that second home affluent? Yes, quite frankly, because the demand isn't as high in that market, because there's not enough people making those kinds of incomes to afford that. Whereas in the first-time homebuyer market, statistics state that usually in a normal market, 50% of homebuyers are first-time homebuyers. And now if you have that size of 50% of people going out and looking and there's not enough homes, then that market's probably going to stay for a while. And I read a book, it's called The Age Curve, and what it does is it actually counts the number of people in each generation. And so GI and the silent generation, they're old farts. They're getting closer to the grave than they are to a home. That sounds bad. But the baby boomers, there were 78.2 million births. And then the Gen Xers came around and there were less Gen Xers or millennials. And so what that meant is that it was more of a seller's market. Even in the job market, there were more entry-level positions available than there were people entering the job market, purely just based on numbers. There just weren't as many Gen Xers in the marketplace than the prior generation. But what we're seeing now is Gen Y. This generation is the largest generation that we've seen. 30 million more people in this generation than the millennial generation. And so if you're a first-time home buyer and you're asking me, do I think that this banana market is going to stop? I don't see it stopping purely based on numbers, because there's going to be a lot more people looking for that entry-level job and for that first-time home buyer than there will be available. It's going to be tough. You're going to need to have some cash. You're going to need to have some savings. We're going to have to get creative with the offers. If not, believe it or not, I never thought that I would say these words. It might make sense to sit on the sidelines until it's a financial situation where you've saved up enough money where you can compete in this market. So I'm not saying that's for all, but where we are with numbers and statistics, I don't see it slowing down anytime soon in the near future for first-time home buyers, which makes up 50% of the home buyers in America. The second thing I wanted to show you guys is some people are saying, well, if I wait a year, what will that look like from a number standpoint? So I've also ran those numbers for you guys. Interest rates are on the rise. The government said that they are not going to raise rates. But as you can see in this chart, all last year rates were in the high 2s. As of this quarter, they have reached over the 3% mark. Interest rates are still in the low 3s. It's a great rate. But even though the feds are saying they're not going to increase it, the reason why they've increased is because of inflation. and economists are predicting inflation to increase. So a year from now, do I think rates are going to increase? Yes. Are home prices increasing? Yes. And so in theory, if the cost of a home and the interest rate are both on the rise, then the cost of waiting is going to increase in a year. How much, we don't know, because we don't know how fast it's appreciating or how high the rates are going to go. But if you ask me if it's going to cost you money to wait, I would say yes, based on those two questions. And for some of you guys who don't know this, if you Google Fannie Mae LLPA, it'll actually show you what Fannie Mae's tiers are for FICO score. This pertains to conventional loans only. But if you have a FICO score at 740 or above, you're going to get the best rate possible. If you're just below that, you're going to be in tier 2. If you have a FICO score below 700, you're going to be in a tier 4. And so your interest rate will be higher than somebody who's in a tier 1. It's just important for you guys to know. Also, what matters is your down payment. So if you're putting 5% down, you're financing 95% of that home, there's going to be a small adjustment for that. And so I just wanted you guys to know, I'd like all of our clients to know, that's not based on the lender. That's strictly what's called Fannie Mae loan level pricing adjustment. All right, let's get into the fun stuff. So if a house today is listed at $450,000, let's say the interest rate is 2.75, your monthly payment is going to be around $1,469. Now, a year from now, if we assume a 5% appreciation, that means that that home is now going to cost you $472,500, just because of how homes are increasing in value. And honestly, in DFW, that's probably a conservative number, but $472. Interest rates go to 3.375, let's assume. That means that your mortgage payment is going to be $200 more a month. So what I'm telling you is, if you're shopping in the market and you've got a budget of, let's say, $1,500, and you say, okay, real estate agent, I don't love the houses I'm finding within my budget at this price point, I'm going to wait. Well, if you wait, then that same house that you're looking at that you don't like is now going to cost you $200 more a month, and it'll really be outside of your budget. So that's just something to be mindful of. If you have a max budget, the houses that you're looking at today are the cheapest they're going to get than in the near future. So hope that that's helpful. We post, of course, current market interest rates every single week right here on this website. If you have any questions at all, or if we can help you purchase or refinance, we are licensed in Texas, all of Colorado, and now all of Florida. So any requests to get licensed anywhere else, just let us know. Our goal is to help people build wealth with real estate and deliver true, honest, transparent feedback that we can. So stay tuned, and I look forward to showing you more updates in the future.